All right, so who remembers this guy? This is the handy little Wyze cam that we had in our budget surveillance video. The plan today is to test out Wyze's beta firmware that they say you can use to get an RTSP feed, and more importantly, that we can use natively inside of Blue Iris without using the defang hack that I showed you guys in a previous video. Let's see how well this works, and if so, this may make this camera one of the most powerful and cheap cameras on the market for getting set up with a quick DIY home surveillance setup. Hey everybody, and welcome back to I Do Everyday Automation, where we talk about products and projects to make life easier. On today's episode, I wanted to cover the Wyze Cam and the lineup of cameras and smart home devices that they have. Could this be the savior of the DIY home automation market? To give you the short answer, I think definitely so. Their products are very, very competitively priced in the market. Their aim is obviously like Vizio and a couple of other products in the past to disrupt the smart home automation market. And I think they're doing a very good job. Their entry-level camera, which is what they're known for, starts now at $19.99 at the time of this recording. It used to be about 30 bucks, and it's had a couple of price drops. And I think that is a great way to enter the market, especially if you live in an apartment or you're renting or you live in a home where you don't want to do any permanent modifications. Or if you're a beginner and you don't know much about, PoE cameras or wiring or anything like that. So we'll jump to their website real quick. And again, like I said, first thing you'll notice is when you log into the website, they're advertising their Wyze Cam. It has 1080p full HD video, night vision built in, two-way audio. It works with Alexa, the Google Home Assistant, and if this then that, which already off the bat covers your three major providers for home automation these days, where Google and Alexa have taken over a lot of the home automation voice commands. So that's good to see. So if we click on the Learn More button, you'll see some of the other features that I'm excited that they've rolled into this new firmware that they've pushed out to the camera. Well, obviously you get the basic features, and you can use this like a nanny cam. It actually has now smart recognition. It'll detect a person as opposed to, insects and stuff like that. It has the tracking feature, which we saw in the Blue Iris that I showed you guys. And stay tuned, I'll be doing a more in-depth video on Blue Iris here pretty soon. It can also listen for CO2 and smoke alarm sounds, which I think is also pretty cool. So most cameras don't do that out of the box. And if you don't want to roll this in with other camera software, you can go with just the Wyze suite and build a nice plethora of cameras. So like I said, it now has night vision. And the flexible mount on it is very nice to play around with to get into different positions. I have one of these in my kitchen and one in my garage. And like I mentioned, you got this full swivel here, tilt and swivel. And actually mine, it sits on my storage shelf in the garage like that. And then, like I said, you can kind of angle it to get the right picture. But if that's a little bit too much work for you, Wyze now also carries a pan and tilt camera, which I'll probably be getting pretty soon and doing a review of on the channel. And now this guy starts at $29.99. That's probably the reason why they dropped the price of the other camera, because at that point, you have a camera with more features that's competing with a camera with fewer features. So that was a great way to, have their legacy device that a lot of people love still be relevant and still be, a good buy at the price of $19.99. Whereas similar cameras with similar features start at about 60, 70, 80, all the way up to 100 bucks. Wyze is doing a really good job with market disruption and creating competition and innovation in the market that I think desperately needs it, especially for people who don't want to, pay hundreds to thousands of dollars to get an installer to come in and do this work. So the Wyze Cam pan actually rotates on its axis, and then the camera itself also moves up and down, as you can see from the video. So you have 110-degree rotation. So you have 110-degree per second rotation, which is pretty nice, a 360-degree horizontal range, and a 93-degree vertical range. So that'll cover most of what you want to catch in an open room. Or if you, again, live in an open floor plan apartment, studio apartment, or home, and you don't want to, again, install, or you're kind of just looking to see if this is something that you really need or want for your home security, home automation setup. You can also set different waypoints. So what that means is, as the camera rotates, as it's set on its schedule when you leave the home, it'll scan one area, go to the next area, scan, go to the next area, and scan. Which again, it's a pretty cool feature to say you're getting that under $100. So let's take a look on Amazon real quick to see what the next closest competing camera would be. And to be honest with you, you're probably not going to get the same quality that you're getting from Wyze for the price. So let's just look for a pan and tilt Wi-Fi camera. So these are all around $40. And you see they're actually advertising the Wyze cam here for $37. But again, if you get it straight from Wyze, you won't get the 2-day shipping, but you'll get it for $8 cheaper. And some of these other brands, to be honest with you, they don't really have the name recognition. So I don't know how their customer support's going to be, or if you can really trust those companies to be around long term. But if you keep scrolling down, you see companies like Amcrest who have a little bit more of a reputation for, the small business / DIY, NVR, DVR camera setup. And this camera starts at $90. So let's go back to the Wyze Cam Pam website. So again, they're advertising their motion detection, and the AI motion detection, you can set it for certain size objects. If you don't want anything under a certain size, like insects to give you a false reading and stuff like that, you can adjust that. You can also adjust in the camera the field of detection. So what that means is, let's say, for example, in this video that they're showing, if you didn't want this area right here to be detected because you have a small animal in that area and it's going to give you a lot of false positives, you can exclude that area from the view. So now Wyze is advertising that they support Google and Alexa as well. So that's great. That means now you guys can actually have your Google tablets or smart home devices, as well as your Amazon smart home devices, show you live feed from your Wyze app. And of course, you get the instant alerts, just like you would with a Ring doorbell or camera or any of those other devices that, Ring or Nest sells. The biggest difference to this is you don't have to pay for the additional subscription fee if you don't want to. So the Wyze devices offer a free 14-day rolling cloud storage. And what that means is, and right here, see, it says no monthly subscription fees required. And that was one of the things that drew me to it for some ancillary cameras around the home, like I said, in the garage and in the kitchen area, where I didn't want to run necessarily hardwired cables permanently, but I could also have the luxury of having these cameras. And now Wyze does have the ability to integrate with Blue Iris more natively without using the RTSP hack I showed you guys in the previous video. There is a way to upload an RTSP beta firmware directly from Wyze, which still works with the Wyze app, but does also allow you to use it with Blue Iris or any other NVR system that supports the RTSP feed. So we'll show you guys that here in just a bit. Okay, so we're going to start with the how to install the RTSP firmware instructions. So you're going to go to the support.wyzecam.com site, and I'm going to put the link down in the bottom to the article. And you're going to download the respective bin file for your camera. Now, as far as I understand it, based on information on the site, this will only work with the V2 Wyze cam or the Wyze pan cam. So you're going to download whichever one of those two you have. Then you're going to go ahead and unzip the file. You're going to rename the contents to demo.bin and transfer them to a micro SD card's root directory. However, in this instance, if you're using a Windows PC and the file downloads as a bin,
You don't need to do anything. You can just install that straight to the card. The .bin file format is what you need. So if it's in a zip, unzip it and then save the contents, as they say, as demo.bin. All right, so here we have our SD card that we pulled out of our Wyze cam. As you can see here, it already has the information for the Defang hack that we used previously. You can copy this information and then save it to another location on the PC just in case you want to use it as a rollback option in case this doesn't work for you. I have mine here in the same folder where I saved the firmware. And I've already downloaded the firmware, as you can see. So like I said, what you're going to want is to have it, all of the contents in a demo.bin file like so. So we're just going to go to this card, hit delete, hit yes. From there, we copy the demo.bin file, go back to the card, and hit paste. And that's it, you're done. So now we can take this micro SD card out and put it back in the camera, and then we're going to restart the camera and hold down the setup button as the instructions instructed until we see a blue light. All right, so now we're ready to go. We have our micro SD card, we have our camera, and let's go ahead and plug it in. So we're just going to go ahead and slide the micro SD card in here. Get our setup button ready. Let me adjust the light just a little bit so you guys can see this in real time. There, that's a little better. So we got the setup button held down. There's the blue light. And now we're just going to sit this here and give it some time to do its thing. All right, 4 minutes have passed. Now we should be good to go ahead and set up our camera. So you're going to go ahead and hit this setup button again. And you hear the prompt. It says ready to connect. Go to your Wyze app and hit add product if you don't already have it added. You're going to scan your QR code.
Ready to connect. QR code scanned. Please wait.
And then you'll see the light changing between amber and blue.
Setup completed.
The light will turn solid blue again. All right, so now it says the device has been set up successfully. We can give it a name and then complete the setup. We'll name this one Garage and hit OK and then hit Finish Setup. And now we can see the Garage camera. So we're going to go ahead and let it log in, and there we see it's online and it's using the tracking. So now we're going to go into the settings menu, go to advanced settings as discussed, And now we see down at the bottom, we have an option that says RTSP. So I'm going to go ahead and toggle that on and just create a username and password. And then you hit generate URL. And now you can see here you have the RTSP path. The first part's going to have a username. It's going to be separated by a semicolon. Then it's going to have your password. It's going to have @ and then from there you can see the IP address for the camera. That information is what we're going to go ahead and plug in the Blue Iris, and we're going to replace that with the existing information that we have for the garage cam, and we will see what happens from there.
Okay, so now that we have everything set up in the Wyze app, all we should have to do for the garage camera is we're going to change some of the properties real quick. One of them is the IP address, as Wyze gives it the IP address that it registers with. We can go in and change that later, but for the sake of the video, I'm just going to go ahead and change it to what the camera actually is registering as now. One other thing we're going to change is the RTSP port from 8554 to 554. We're going to change this IP address to what it's currently registering as. And we want to leave it as HTTP. Some users have reported that the RTSP address format usually gives you a little bit more error and that the HTTP is a little bit cleaner. So we're just going to change that username and password as well. And we can change this to Wyze and change the path to live and hit OK. I'm going to hit OK again. Double check our settings real quick. And there we go. Now the garage camera is up. As you can see, it has the Wyze logo down here and the timestamp. All of that can be changed in the app itself. So as far as the cameras are concerned, we are good to go.
All right, guys, so that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe to see the coming videos. I'm going to do a follow-up video on a home setup that I did for someone with the Wyze cameras. We're going to do about 4 or 5 cameras and integrate it into the Wyze app and show you guys how all of that works. So stay tuned for that and make sure, like I said, you have on notifications to see when I post that video. It'll probably be shortly behind this since I took a long hiatus. And then following that, I think I'm gonna do a full rundown of the Blue Iris software. I was speaking with a fellow YouTuber who I actually look to as a mentor, so more to come on that depending on how things go. But we're still gonna do the video either way, and I'll go ahead and do a full setup from start to finish on Blue Iris so you guys can see how to set all of that stuff up and a lot of the features that are rolled into that and why I recommend it so much. Because you can use, like I said in the previous video, a multitude of cameras as long as they support most of the major feeds like RTSP or HTTP or any of the video protocols that most of the home security cameras use. As well as how I'm going to integrate it into another app called Home Control, which will allow you to use pretty much anything on the market these days with a little bit of technical know-how. So that video is going to be a little bit more advanced, but stay tuned for that as well. See you guys on the next one.